For a time, the crossfield bomb was one of the biggest weapons in the rugby league world. Wingers had become experts in the air, and halves became pinpoint accurate with their crossfield kicks. Then the NRL decided it would be legal to block attacking players from chasing those kicks. As a result, we've seen an evolution in the way sides attack the try line with their kicks. Complete crossfield bombs are becoming rarer as teams look to find a way to attack kicks without getting blocked. Welcome to the era of the half crossfield bomb. Cast your mind back to 2007, and the NRL witnessed the debut of 17-year-old Israel Folau. Folau, despite only a short NRL career, changed the way teams attacked the goal line. The bomb as an attacking weapon had been around for decades already, and mastered by John Peard at Eastern Suburbs in the 1970s. But it was very much a tactic used at distance, a way to pressure defenders and obtain field position. Part of this was due to the ball itself. The leather football didn't exactly float like its synthetic successor. The defensive line was also a lot closer, limiting a half's time to execute an accurate kick. By the time Folau came through, teams had all been using attacking bombs to varying degrees. Andrew Johns had become a fine exponent of the torpedo bomb that absolutely terrorised opposing fullbacks. Melbourne, the team that Folau had debuted for, they had a relatively unknown advantage in the 2000s. No, I'm not talking about the salary cap cheating. I'm talking about their work with AFL clubs. The Storm, having set up deep in Aussie rules territory, worked with their cross-code rivals when it came to kicking, and there were no greater beneficiaries than Folau and his halfback Cooper Cronk. He showed the great advantage of having a tall winger with good hands. Over the preceding decade, teams have trended more and more towards taller wingers. From 2004 to 2018, the average height of wingers has grown from 183 centimetres to 186 centimetres. Not only that, but they bulked up substantially from 91 kilos to 97 kilos. The likes of small, nimble wingers are virtually gone. Hazem El-Masri, Steve Turner, Luke Burt, Nathan Merritt are all but relics of the past. You look at today's shorter wingers and they're small tanks. NRL sides like big, powerful wingers such as Daniel Tupou, Ken Momolo, Maika Sivo, Blake Ferguson and Jason Saab. Not every winger is a giant, but a prerequisite is being good in the air. Just ask Brett Morris, who stood 183 centimetres tall, but still weighed 96 kilograms and was fantastic at contesting the aerial ball. But coaches, well, they're coaches, and whenever one side works out how to score points, the rest are working out how to stop it. Having a giant winger bearing down on his opponent who remains rooted to the ground due to a crossfield kick ends up being a pretty one-sided affair. The attacker has all the momentum and is invariably going to win the duel more times than not. So coaches began to see what they could get away with, and their solution was relatively simple, even if it did stretch the laws of the game. They began instructing their centres and halves to get in the way of attacking players when chasing kicks. So here's a screenshot from Israel Folau's 2008 State of Origin try that sees him acrobatically take the ball over the top of New South Wales winger Anthony Quinn. That was a pretty regular sight across the NRL at the time. Note how Blues centre Matt Cooper is incredibly far infield. Now, it's a fantastically weighted kick by Thurston, but Matt Cooper is in no position to assist Anthony Quinn. Part of that is due to the compressed defence of New South Wales, worried about getting split on the edge. However, it's a position that virtually no centre looks to find himself in the modern game on last tackle. So let's go forward more than a decade to a 2019 match between the Manly Sea Eagles and St George Illawarra Dragons. Last play of the game. Daly Cherry Evans pops a crossfield kick over to his right winger, Reuben Garrick. And note the position of Dragons centre Tim Laffey. He's kind of half in, half out. He's wary of a backline shift, but is well aware of the aerial threat Garrick poses to his winger Jordan Pereira. The moment he sees Cherry Evans steady to kick, Laffey turns and books it to the corner. He takes up a position directly in the line of Garrick, preventing him from competing for the ball. There was no penalty for this, but the NRL admitted the error a couple of days later. But teams have been doing this for over a decade now, although they have become very good at it. Laffey has no intention of competing for the ball. His sole purpose is to block the winger. This is a very obvious refereeing error and an extreme example of blocking. But teams are also very good at getting to their position early to legally impede an attacking winger. So what do you do when kicking to the wing is unlikely to deliver the results? Well, you head further infield, where the shorter players are and where blocking is much harder. So let's look at this try from the Eels in the 2021 season. Mitchell Moses is kicking this from about 17 metres out. He's under very little pressure, and that's an issue for the Roosters because he's one of the most accurate kickers in the game. He's aiming towards Parramatta's right edge, which is its tallest. On that side of the field, they have Ryan Madison at 194 centimetres, Murata Nikore at 188 centimetres, and Blake Ferguson at 191 centimetres. Madison is competing for the ball against the 187 centimetres Drew Hutchison and the 182 centimetres Josh Morris. The Eels' back rower is simply too big and his positioning is too good. He takes the ball cleanly, pops it to Nikore, who quickly shuffles it to Ferguson, and he's over in the corner. It's a relatively simple yet effective play, and the Eels have become very good at it in the recent seasons, due in large part to their particularly tall back rowers. And Madison is nowhere near Parramatta's tallest. That accolade goes to Sean Lane, who stands at 198 centimetres tall. So back to that kick, and what it does is isolate the game's two shortest edge defenders, the halfback or 5'8". The average height for a halfback is 180 centimetres, and the average height for a 5'8" is 182 centimetres. The only player who is on average shorter is the hooker at 179 centimetres, but he's surrounded by the tall timber and front rowers. Drew Hutchison is far from the game's shortest half. He's well above average, but he still gives away 7 centimetres to Madison. The kick draws defenders away from the edges as Josh Morris makes a beeline to contest the ball. This leaves his winger Daniel Tupou facing both Nikore and Ferguson on his own. Nikore nearly blows the chance because he passes too early, meaning Tupou can line up Ferguson. The Eels winger though has made a career of these sorts of tries, so despite 3 defenders getting involved, Ferguson is too strong to stop that close to the line. And that's how sides have begun to attack with their kicking game. Utilising a half crossfield bomb means teams can isolate the shortest player against one of the tallest players and largely prevent blockers who can't quickly crowd around the contest, as doing so would open up gaps in the middle of the field that could be exploited. Now, we of course await the next coaching changes to try and negate this attacking structure, which will give us something new to complain about. If you want more of this content, join Rugby League Monthly for just $5 a month with your first month free. Subscribers get new videos first and access to exclusive news and features. Link is in the description.